I certainly believe that the closure of schools was a very, very damaging thing for kids, particularly, as I said earlier on, for kids on lower incomes.
I found learning difficult because I didn't have the teachers and the help I needed.
There are children who would be at home and invisible to the system in a way that perhaps had not happened before.
There wasn't enough thinking about the overall experience of children who might not have quite the same privileges as the people who are in rooms in Whitehall taking decisions.
Life was always fast-paced, we never slowed down, till everything stopped when Corona came to town.
It became very clear to us from the work that we were doing during the pandemic that unfortunately there was not sufficient attention being paid by politicians, by key decision makers to children's rights and to children's well-being. While the COVID pandemic affected all children, it did not affect all children equally.
There were clearly some children that were more at risk, and the outcomes for those children, I think, has been devastating.
Coronavirus has affected my family because we've been in the house for a lot of time. We haven't came out, and it's just devastating because it's like you're trapped in this escape room and you can't come out.
So our job was to help the inquiry team to think about the right questions to ask, what evidence to gather, to make sure that children and the experience of children was a core part of what we learn about.
I'm a secret at school, my friend and my dad. I'm a sharing the fun times, and that makes me sad.
One thing that was really striking is that no one, whether an independent expert, a top civil servant or a government minister, really seriously disputed the argument that children were failed and that was known at the time. We did also find with some of the key politicians, they found it hard to recall. And one very specific example was when we asked the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, was he in favour of giving free school meals to children or not?
What was your view in 2020 on this matter initially?
I generally can't
remember.
Can't recall the exact discussions.
It was absolutely abundantly clear that there was no one who had specific responsibility for thinking about children.
I think we all had the concerns of children in our mind.
If children are everybody's responsibility, as Mr. Gove intimated, they are effectively nobody's priority. That is the problem.
Children sacrificed so much during the COVID pandemic in so many different ways. Think of a 4-year-old who, as a result of the pandemic, was not able to start school, who missed out on their nativity play, who missed out on the opportunities to start their learning. We can't give them back that experience of starting school. We can't give them back their first nativity play. But what we can do is we can do our utmost to bring the urgency that is required to repay the debt and the sacrifice that they made, and also to make sure that in a few years' time, when the next crisis hits, that some future 4-year-old does not have to suffer the same kind of problems that 4-year-old did.
Don't give up hope, the end is in sight. If we all stick together, we're all in this fight.